There was one time in contest prep I wanted to try to see how much I could get off at one time, and I did this keto type diet. It was a keto diet, and I lost like 30 pounds in 6 weeks. I'll show a picture. It's actually worked really well. Just I will admit I was taking T3 with it. It was one of the first times I messed with that, and which I'm not a big fan of T3 because you don't necessarily have to do as many high carb days and stuff because your thyroid's going to stay up there because of the T3, and you still need to do them because, you know, you have the cortisol and all that shit, and I'm not getting too much detail into that, but if you're not careful, your weight can drop too fast, and if you're not on enough shit or eating properly, you're going to lose muscle. And you know, it worked, but by the time I got to the contest, I was so fucking worn out. My body was exhausted. I was doing like two 45-minute sessions of cardio and then one 30-minute session post-workout. So it's 3 sessions a day plus the workout. And by the time I got on stage, I had so much cortisol, so much water in my skin that I looked like garbage, even though I lost all that weight. Like, it's one of those things where you're like a couple weeks out, you're looking good. I should have slowed down and started eating carbs and started filling out, slowly filling out, because I wasn't going to be able to do it all at one time with as worn out as I was. But, you know, I chose to keep pushing because I had this complex where, like, I need to keep losing. At the time I did. And, actually that day of the contest, I lost like 5 pounds that day because I got so dehydrated. I tried to eat and I threw up all over the fucking place. And I remember too, because I was sick as fuck, and I tried to junk load that night. It didn't work out, and by the time I got on stage, I just looked like shit. Honestly, I should have either kept in the keto and just walked on stage, or I should have slowly went on a baseline diet the last week or two and then tweaked it here and there according to how I looked by the day. And I should have laid off the cardio. But, you know, you learn from fucking up, and that's usually how I always learn. Now, I'm telling this because I had pushed so hard and worn myself out so much that after the contest I got shingles. And I thought about telling you guys a story because me and another person were talking about contest prep, and both of us had instances where we had dieted so hard that our immune system took a shit and we got shingles. But I had, you know, I placed second by default. Well, not because I deserved second, but because there's only 3 of us and I was the only one that looked at that, and I looked good enough to not be dead last. So after the contest, I started eating normally and I started filling out. I think I went from like 190 up to like 210, 215 pretty quick, and I looked a lot better. But one day I woke up and I had a blister, and my girlfriend at the time noticed it, and I was like, it's probably nothing like carpet burn or some shit. And a couple days later, that shit was spreading all over, and I was like, holy God, I've got the fucking shingles. And when I went to the doctor, I told him what all happened with the diet and stuff. I didn't tell him I was taking anything, but I told him I dieted pretty hard and lost a lot of weight, and they were like, that's probably what killed your immune system. And so that was rough. I mean, I remember for a few months past that, I was getting sick a lot. Like, I had the shingles, UTI, and then I want to say a couple months later, I got strep throat, and that put me out for a while. It was almost to the point where I was like, fuck, man, I need to get tested for HIV because I'm getting fucking sick like all the goddamn time. And it just took a while to recover from that. And, you know, sometimes the crash dieting's not smart because shit like this happens and it'll fuck you up. And the long-term, not long-term, but like the aftermath is sometimes not worth it. It's just, plus the main thing, I went on stage looking like shit. If I can find a picture, I'll post it up here. But, you know, I lost all that weight, but the final product still looked like garbage because my body was just so fucking worn out. And I tried to dehydrate myself, and I got even more sick. Couldn't hold food down, was throwing up, and like I was just, if I'd have just drank water and ate normal, I probably could have. Now the guy who won our class won the whole thing. There was no way I was going to beat him, but I definitely could have come in a lot better if I would have just went back on a baseline diet and went into the contest drinking water normally instead of trying to manipulate all this shit. Me personally, I really can't cut water because it fucks things up for me. So I've stopped doing that shit. And just saying, like, when people are looking for numbers to fall really quick and they're trying keto and trying to starve themselves and all this stuff, and some people can lose weight that quick like that, or if they're taking T3 or any other types of any enhancements that will kind of cut corners so that they can lose weight, it's gonna fuck you up. Like, not necessarily just the fact that you're dropping that weight that fast will fuck you up. So I don't like seeing people drop a lot at one time. I like it to be slow and steady, and it's always better that way, because if you start losing muscle, your metabolism is going to slow down. If you're losing weight that fast, your immune system's going to take a shit. Just everything falls apart. And if your body's falling apart, it's going to show on stage. You want to be 100% as best as possible. You don't want to have all these health problems after a contest because you dieted too hard because you got too fat in the off season. You've got to be smart about things, and you've got to diet smart. You can't just cut all your calories and start taking thyroid stuff and just hope it burns it all off in time. It's just, it'll fuck you up. And it's not, like I said, it took me a while to start feeling better again after all that. And, I learned my lesson with that. So just wanted to share that, one of my contest prep stories and what I learned from it, because, honestly, you need, if you got a race like that to I don't know what the point I'm trying to make is. If you're a bodybuilder, or you compete in any of the physique type compositions, you can't get too out of shape. Also, when you diet, for anybody trying to crash diet, bodybuilder, competitor or not, there are side effects to that. Whether you're taking enhancements or not, there are side effects to losing weight that fast. It's unhealthy. And you got to be smart about it. You got to be patient, and you can't let numbers get to you. And remember, this whole taking calories down and starving, that's not the way to do it, because a lot of you guys, when you start losing weight, you do that, and then you end up coming to somebody for help because you're not getting it all off. But yet, it still never fucking registers with you that maybe you need to fucking eat to lose weight. So, there's just a story to share with you guys.